Yeah, so what I want to talk about here is a Prometheus or OpenMetrics compatible scraping endpoint. Then it's just available at clouddbos.dev v1 metrics. You can point your Prometheus to it or your Datadog agent or what have you at it, and you'll scrape Prometheus or OpenMetrics compatible metrics. And what this helps you do is this helps you get observability data from DBOS into your APM or your observability stack, helps you build custom alerts on top of DBOS, and also helps you build your own DBOS dashboards including inside your existing observability tools. So we see this really as a complement to Conductor for where you could use this to view DBOS information inside of your own observability stack. So because it's just open metrics for Prometheus, this works. You can connect this to any observability backend that speaks Prometheus, which is most of them. So this works with Prometheus itself, with Grafana, with Datadog, with all the APMs like Honeycomb and New Relic. You can convert this to OpenTelemetry using the OpenTelemetry collector, which is Prometheus compatible. So you can use these from almost any observability system. And what this is, these are metrics about your workflows, your queues, your steps, and your executors. So there's a full list in the docs, but the key things you can measure. First, you can measure the performance of your workflows themselves. You can monitor workflows as the throughput. You can monitor how many workflows have started or succeeded or failed or been canceled per second over time. Everything's broken down through labels by application, by workflow name, by queue name, by step name as appropriate, so you can slice and dice these as you want. You can monitor queue health. You can see how many workflows are in queue to each of your queues, and you can see how long workflows have been in queued for. So you can see when your queues are slowing down and are oversaturated. You can monitor workflow and step latency, and that's both like start to completion latency, but also dequeue time. You can monitor step throughput and outcomes, so how many steps are failing and succeeding per second, broken down by step. And you can monitor executor status. You can see how many executors you have and how healthy they are. So there's a lot of things you can do with them. One really interesting thing you can do with this is set up alerts. So you can define custom metrics-based alerting rules. You can define them directly in your Grafana or your Prometheus or your Datadog to link into the rest of your alerting system. And you can define these through the simplest way to do this is through PromQL over these metrics. So here, for example, in Grafana, we set up an alerting rule where we fire an alert if a workflow has been in queued, not dequeued, for more than 5 minutes or 300 seconds. And that way we can detect if one of our queues is oversaturated, if there are more workflows being put into the queue than your workers can dequeue. We can fire alert, and then that might warn us when our system's overloaded so we can go add more workers or figure out what's gone wrong. So I'll show you a quick demo. So I have this application running in Conductor, running a whole lot of workflows. And then here is the custom dashboard, the custom metrics dashboard I created for it using these metrics in Grafana. So here we're monitoring how many workflows have started per second, how many workflows are succeeding per second. One interesting thing we can see is how many workflows are currently in queued in each of our queues. We can see clearly this app has an oversaturation problem where more workflows are being queued to two of the queues, burst queue and report queue, than workers can dequeue. So the size of these queues is steadily growing over time. And down here we can see that this has led to some workflows being stuck in the queue for hours. And that's actually firing an alert because this is actually firing an alert in Grafana because workflows aren't supposed to be in queued for more than a few minutes, but some of these workflows are being queued for hours. So we can see that clearly in the dashboard, and we can get alerted on it. And we can see that workflows are being pending for their ancient pending workflows because they were stuck in the queue for hours. We can see that queue wait has reached and max workflow latency have reached unhealthy levels because of that backed up queue. And we can see here that steps at least are completing healthily. If we jump into Grafana a bit more, we can look at alerting rules. So here's the alert I talked about earlier. We've set up a rule that we fire an alert if a workflow has been in a queue for more than 5 minutes. And using Grafana, we can point that alert at just about anything. We can point it at an email. We can point it at PagerDuty. We can do whatever we need to make sure that alert is delivered in the right place in the right way. And Prometheus, you can see this is all we had to do was set up a Prometheus. This is running in a local Docker container and point it at the metrics endpoint, and everything works out of the box. Okay, so that's the core of it. I think this is going to help you integrate DBOS into your existing observability backend, build your own dashboards if you want to, and build alerting. So just try it out by pointing. If you have Prometheus or anything that speaks Prometheus, just point it at the endpoint and watch the metrics come in.
And I think one way I like to see these things side by side is that the metrics are really well, they're so much more detailed, right? There's like per queue stuff, per workflow name stuff, but they're also like historical, going back a long time, right? Like, whereas DBOS workflow data in Postgres is subject to retention policy, and we remove data for completed workflows eventually. These metrics are not, we don't have to recompute them all the time. We just emit them into sort of a trail of history, and they persist for a while, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like Conductor really tells you a lot about the current state of your system. Like right now, I have these workflows, and I can even click into this workflow and see exactly what this workflow is doing, which of course I couldn't see in metrics. Whereas metrics tell you about, like Alex said, they really are telling you about how your system's evolving over time, like how many workflows are running per second over time. And of course, there are also health metrics that tell you right now this thing is wrong. Like right now, you know, here's how the age of your or the size of your queues evolved over time, and right now your queues are too long, so you should probably do something about that.